Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day here today. Happy Friday to you guys here on another installment of our 50 States of 50 streams. We're back here in Colorado today. I know it's been the first time in a couple of weeks since I've last streamed here. So I hope you guys have had a great day so far. It's wonderful to be back here with the streams with all of you guys here. Hope you're all doing well. So if you guys aren't aware about Colorado, Colorado is definitely one of the coolest U.S. states to visit. It has everything from deserts to mountains to historical landmarks, Native American settlements, modern cities. There's just isn't many things that Colorado just doesn't have. Colorado is a state that has so much to offer. Sports, outdoors, much more. Before we just get started, I do want to say hello to everyone in the chats and all the lurkers. Hello, hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. So here's our flight plan for this stream here today. It's going to be about 288 nautical miles here today. We'll be getting our start here at Grand Junction Airport. We'll fly over to Grand Junction. Then from there, we're going to head up northeast. And we're going to make our way over to Glenwood Springs. And then from Glenwood Springs, we'll be making our way over to our first stop here at Aspen. Aspen Pitkin, the famous ski resort. Hosted a few Winter Olympic Games here. Then from there, we're going to head our way over east to Pikes Peak. We'll go across this area and we'll go visit Pikes Peak, Garden of the Gods, and then we'll make our way back to Colorado Springs with our stop here at Kilo Charlie Oscar Sierra. Finally, for our last stop, we'll fly over the U.S. Air Force Academy before making our way over to the largest city and capital of Colorado, Denver. We'll check out Denver and all that. So we'll check out Denver and all that. We'll check out this area here as well. Then we're going to go up into, and our last stop's going to be in Boulder, Colorado, home of the University of Colorado in Boulder. So that will be our last stop of the day. So, of course, we're going to take the Draco with us today. I thought that would be a pretty good plane here today. I thought the Draco with the turboprop engine and can go high altitudes, I think that would be perfect for our trip here in Colorado. Because we have several places that's going to be above 14,000 feet. Thought the Draco would be a perfect fit for this. So we're here in Grand Junction today, and we're here at Grand Junction Regional Airport here. Here it is. Grand Junction Regional's our airport for today. Again, it's the main airport of Grand Junction, Colorado. Opened in 1930 as municipal airport, it was renamed Walker Field for Walter Walker, a publisher of the Daily Sentinel, and it covers an elevation of 4,800 feet with two runways, the longest being 1129, which is 10,503 feet. Longest runway here at the airport. And it mainly serves destinations to Denver, Dallas, Las Vegas, LA, Salt Lake City, Phoenix, and San Francisco are some of its main destinations here. So that is the airport here at Grand Junction. Then, of course, Grand Junction itself, population 65,000 people. It's the most populous city in western Colorado. It's the economic cultural center of the region, main transportation hub due to its convergence of I-70 and U.S. Highway 50, making it the largest city between Denver and Salt Lake City, and it's home to a Colorado Mesa University. In addition to this, Grand Junction has also had some economic history. Fruit growing, gardening, farming, and cattle raising were historically the biggest parts of its economy. Nowadays is more education and healthcare. Used to have an uranium mill back in the day, but it's now been decommissioned. But it's pretty diverse economically speaking. So that is a bit about Grand Junction. Yeah, I got a lot to talk about as we get to the air, of course. I've had a great trip over to the United Kingdom and such. I'll do talk about a bit more when we get in. Let's go ahead and let's get back to get this Draco started. Yeah, I put in earplugs because this thing can get quite loud, so hey, Jeffrey B, good to see you, Jeffrey. I hope you're doing well, my dude. It's good to have you here in the chat. Welcome on in. Yep. We're gonna get ready to get going in this. The Draco. If you guys aren't aware about this plane, PD Aviation made this way back in the 2010s. Unfortunately, on its way to Oshkosh, it had an infamous crash. Here we go, guys. We're about to make a tick. Sadly, yeah, it is pretty sad to see this plane crash back in the day. But it's good at least the got friends who put this plane in the sim. And I really do enjoy this piece of a plane. Ah. So, if you guys weren't aware, I was gone for a couple weeks on vacation. So I visited the United Kingdom. So I took off from Cincinnati over to London, about 7 hour flight from Cincy over to London, of course. But man, it's such a different world when you enter Europe for the first time. It took me a bit of a while to get used to being in Europe, of course. But I really enjoyed my time here. I made a lot of memories. I got tons of pictures to show you. If I don't get showing you off this stream, I'll show it off to you guys on Sunday as well. We're gonna start this cruise 9,000 feet. And we're basically pretty much off immediately. I'll try and limit the speed. I don't want to go too fast, obviously. So we do want some sightseeing. Remember, we're getting high out. But yeah, been really great. Get to visit a lot of Europe. What we did over the couple days is we did a few days in London, explored nearly everything we could of London. Trust me, there's still way more of that city to explore. But and then after that, we did a 12-day cruise visiting the rest of the islands, much of the isles we could on the ship. This here is Grand Junction, Colorado. Not far from this area, by the way, is Colorado National Monument. Which is right in this area is Colorado National Monument. One of the national monuments here in Colorado for visit. So our clear camera is we have a FLIR camera. But yeah, great time. I know I had to deal with a bit of a sickness earlier before. But lucky enough, I'm healthy enough to be here on the stream. And yes, we're also going to our new streaming schedule, only now 2 days a week. I thought with my project and stuff, I want to do 2 days a week schedule. So let's talk about Colorado as we fly our way over to our first stop. So Colorado is one of the 4 mountain states, 4 corners of the region, along with Arizona, New Mexico, Utah. It's also bordered by Wyoming, Nebraska, Kansas, and South in Oklahoma are all states that border Colorado, and it's very geographically diverse with mountains, forests, plains, mesas, canyons, plateaus, rivers, and deserts. And it covers a lot of the southern half of the Southern Rocky Mountains. Colorado is known as the Centennial State because it joined the Union in 1876, 100 years after the United States was created. That's why it's called the Centennial State, because it became in 1 century 4 weeks after the Declaration of Independence, and the capital most populous city is Denver, of course. But there's definitely some really cool other cities to visit, like Colorado Springs and more. So to discuss Colorado, we have to discuss a bit about the state's history. So Colorado was once inhabited by native tribes for at least 13,000 years, and the eastern edge of the Rocky Mountains was a major migration route for a lot of the people of the early Americans. And various peoples live in this region, including the ancient Pueblo peoples that live in the valleys and Minnesota, the Colorado Plateau, and Colorado Utes taking over the valleys of the southern Rocky Mountains and western, and you also have the Apache Comanche tribes in the eastern and southeast part of the state, as well as the Aparon Cheyenne people. Of course, Spanish came to Colorado and claimed it as part of New Mexico, Nuevo Mexico, which was their Spanish territory. The U.S. acquired the territory claimed to the eastern half of the mountains with the Louisiana Purchase. However, it conflicted with Spain. And there was an expedition in that region in 1806 by Sibley Pike. But he and his troops were arrested by the Spanish in February and was expelled from Mexico in July of that year. Of course, the U.S. relinquished its claim to land southwest of Arkansas River, part of the Adam-Otis Treaty of 1819, which he acquired Florida. But of course, that wouldn't last forever because 11 years later, after Mexico gained independence in 1835, the Texan revolt fomented a dispute between the U.S. and Mexico, which erupted 10 years later to the Mexican-American War, which, if you guys all knew, Mexico had to give up those lands in the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which included the western southern areas of Colorado. Led to all that. Of course, the first American settlers came to Colorado through the Santa Fe Trail, which connected the U.S. to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and the Camino Real de Tierra Adentro. Others were traveling overland west to Oregon County, the gold fields of California, or Mormon settlements. However, there was one major thing that did happen in Colorado during this time. Gold seekers. Apparently, they found a gold rush in Pikes Peak during this time. And originally, this area was called the Jefferson Territory, but eventually, though, but the new territory, because of its debate over slavery. Of course, Colorado Territory was then later established in 1861 by President James Buchanan, and the original boundaries still remain unchanged, even after all these years. Of course, Colorado was involved in the Civil War for a bit, but Colorado was mainly borderlands. Texas cavalry did invade New Mexico and capture Santa Fe, and then they try to get Colorado and California's gold fields. But unfortunately, the Confederacy couldn't really succeed as a result. Of course, there were also China Aparo warriors attacking this area, so they had to bring volunteers to protect it. And of course, after the Civil War ended, many discouraged prospectors returned to their homes, but few stayed and developed the mines, farms, ranches, and roads in the Colorado Territory. But of course, the big thing that happened in Colorado after that time period was gold mining, and apparently they found silver in Colorado. Multiple silver throughout much of the 1860s and 70s was silver mining all across Colorado, mainly in the San Juan Mountains southwest. But of course, Colorado then became a state in 1875 with the Enabling Act, and eventually 1 year later, August 1st, 1876, Colorado became the 38th state and it's known as. And they continue to find more silver around this area. And triggered the Colorado silver boom, which brought a lot of people into Colorado. Hey, Red Baron, good to see you, my dude. I hope you're doing well. Been a while since I've last seen you. I've been on vacation for a bit of a while, so that's why I haven't seen you very much. Hope you're doing well. Of course, it led to a lot of silver mining. And then, of course, gold happened in this area too. At Cripple Creek brought gold into this area. And as a result, lots of people made their way to Colorado. Colorado is also the second state in the U.S. to grant universal suffrage as well. But of course, in 1893, the mining economy is fall apart, but it rebounds. Poor labor conditions and discontent among miners led to several clashes between miners and strikers in the Colorado National Guard, including one in 1904 and more. And that issue continued on even into the 1920s. Of course, the state also suffered immensely due to the Great Depression, of course. Great Depression and the Dust Bowl really suffered Colorado, but major wave of tourism post-World War II boosted Colorado's fortune, especially tourism was a big deal as well. Also, there were many protest movements in the 40s, 70s came here, particularly the Chicano movements for Mexican Americans were a big deal here as well. And Colorado was also the first state to loosen restrictions on abortion, when Governor John Love signed a law allowing abortions in case of rape, incest, or threats to women's health. And many other states followed ever since. Of course, on a sadder note, Colorado was also the site of multiple mass shootings since the 90s, most infamously the Columbine High School Massacre in 1990. And there are many more incidents, including one in Aurora in 2012, one in Boulder in 2021, and a shooter in a nightclub in 2022. Oh, nice, Red Baron, an EX3 Carbon Cup. That's fantastic, dude. That looks awesome. I'd love to see the final product of that. So, it's good to be back, guys. Like I said, I may still be a little rusty. I haven't streamed in a while, so you guys all probably know I might still be a little rusty. But man, Colorado's just gorgeous here. What a beautiful state, guys. Colorado's gorgeous. Just a gorgeous state. Just a gorgeous state. Absolutely pretty. Love to see it. Colorado's absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait. I would love to visit Colorado. It'd be such a pretty state. Thank you for letting me know, Red Baron. I'll definitely check it out when the time comes. Thank you, Red Baron. So, there's some pretty big things going on with me. Some news. So I also got the 777-300ER when I got back. So I've been flying that quite a bit. Nice to have the 777 back and the 300ER back. Happy to have the 777-300ER back. The Firefighter Air Delivery's back with it too, so that's great to see. But one of the other things I'm really happy to report is I had a great trip over the United Kingdom, of course. I do want to show you some of my travel pics. I'm going to take this slower, of course. Because, yes, I posted another picture. You guys should be really interested to see these pictures, of course. I bet a lot of you guys are interested. Oh, yes, I heard about that too. Yes, I did hear about that. So I do have some pictures from London, of course. So here are some of my pictures of London, of course. So yes, I did fly to Heathrow, as you guys all know. So I do have a couple pictures to show you here too. Of course, you guys want to check out my Discord. I'm not really interested in getting the Stearman. Not really my had plans. So this is Paddington Station. Our hotel's in Kensington, but here's some really cool pictures of Kensington, London. There's the Albert Memorial in Hyde Park. There's that right here. There's the famed Royal Albert Hall. Lots of famous musical performances have held here over the 100+ years of this. Like visiting London, it kind of overwhelmed my mom and I for a bit because Then we went to the Natural History Museum here in London. Beautiful building. So, tons of pictures here. Beautiful place. Got lots of great historical stuff into it too. Lots of great historical stuff. That was the first day. Again, we were really tired. Obviously, I haven't had sleep since the night before. Then day 2, we did a taxi tour. We had a private taxi tour in a black cab. Of course, in London, those are very popular. And we went all across London. We visited so many landmarks. This one here this was the house that John Lennon lived in for many, many years in London. Yes, the John Lennon of the Beatles. So I got a picture up here with the Lennon house. Here's me. We went through a lot of places. We found this place here, the farmhouse. Believe it or not, JFK visited this area, as well as Gloria Swanson and Lady Thelma Furness. Were major people who visited the place. But one really cool landmark we visited here was Buckingham Palace. If you guys aren't aware about Buckingham Palace, you know that is the main ceremony palace here in London. Really cool building. I got to stand in front of it. Took some pictures here. But look, I mean, it's just gorgeous. There were so many people, though. So many people visiting all. It's crazy how busy London. And yeah, here's me with the selfie and stuff. Yeah, you can definitely tell that's Buckingham Palace. And this is where it was from the back of the car, of the taxi, with the palace and the statue. Really cool. After that, though, we watched the changing of the guards here. So this was St. James's Palace, and they did changing of the guards here. I had videos of it on my phone, but this was the palace guards. They did the changing of the guards. They do it every single day, I believe. And that's what. After that, though, this here's Trafalgar Square. This was one of the major squares, public squares of this city. Trafalgar Square, with the National Gallery, such, right around this area. Then after that, we visited quite a few other buildings. But this here is the Elizabeth Tower, Big Ben, aka Elizabeth Tower. But yeah, really cool. I got to see Big Ben. Got a picture of that. Really cool to see. Of course, one of the most beautiful buildings here in this city is the Westminster Abbey. Um, like the architecture here in London is absolutely incredible. Amazing architecture here in this city. Really like it. Yes, we got souvenirs, of course, plenty of them. This is uh, This is Sodon. This is the theater district, of course. You love music shows. This is the place for you. Tons of stuff here. Royal Court of Justice is right here. And of course, here's London's most famous one of the most famous landmarks, and its most famous cathedral here. Outside the Westminster Abbey, the other most famous cathedral here in the city. It is St. Paul's. Beautiful St. Paul's Cathedral. Is beautiful St. Paul. A couple more churches. There's the bit of the Roman walls. And of course, Tower Bridge. Then this is the Tower of London, by the way. All these pictures here are the Tower of London. And there's now this building here is the White Tower, and that's the main tower in that fortification. So that is our main tower here. And of course, here's Tower Bridge in its full glory. Here's Tower Bridge itself. So, and then we explore around this Tower of London, which is really cool. Tons of historic places, though. It is an accessibility nightmare, though, because it's built back in the 1100s. But it's really cool, though. Got to see so much of London. So many historical areas. I'm as a history guy, I love the Tower of London. Really neat place. Like I said, I'll show you more throughout the flight, of course, of some of the places in London. We're gonna get through to our next waypoint. And we're gonna be visiting Glenwood Springs will be our next waypoint. Will take us to Glenwood Springs. Here it is, guys. Glenwood Springs. This area, population 9,000 people. It's the confluence of the Roaring Fork and Colorado rivers, and it's famed for its hot springs, hence the name Glenwood Springs. Got the hot spring. However, this area is well known for being a pretty important western town in the frontier. because there were several famed people that lived in this area. Most notably, of course, one particular person that's buried here was Doc Holliday. He was actually from around this area, and he was actually buried here in Glenwood Springs. But there's a couple other famous people here, including Marine Corps General Jack Juhan, Bobby Julich, bike racer and silver medalist at the Athens Olympics, and the 37th Governor of Colorado, John Vanderhoof. And of course, many people visit this area in the summer, including most notably Teddy Roosevelt, who spent a summer here in Hotel Colorado here in Glenwood Springs. So, some pretty notable people, of course, as always, are here in Springs. But yeah, this area in general is just absolutely gorgeous, guys. Just absolutely breathtaking. So I know you guys, this weekend's going to be pretty crazy this weekend. I know Murph's going to be back on later today. Allison Johnson's going to be back tomorrow. She's doing one of her historical flights, the Choppers. And a couple more interesting other tons of interesting. So I'm going to climb to 9,500 feet. We can clear through the next waypoint to Aspen. I do have the Comanche as well. I'm still waiting to download it for 2024, of course. So I have been flying a lot of the 777 freighter. I really love that freighter. It is so awesome to fly as well. Like I said, I want to see a Firefly Air live here. Speaking of Firefly Air, we actually have a new hub that's being voted here. No worries, Red Baron. Thank you for coming by. It's good to see you again. I know it's been a few weeks. I'm grateful to see you again. I would love to see you again soon, Red Baron. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. But Firefly Air is going to be voting for a brand new hub. The hub choices are going to be Madrid, Faro in Portugal, Rome, Genoa, Sofia, Bulgaria, and in a wildcard option, yes, Toncontin is a vote for the hub. Yes, Leapin Toncontin, one of the most difficult airports, is going to be voted in. 6 nuts, if you're the one who picked Toncontin, brave lad. However, I did vote for the hub, and I think the number one choice by a mile is Madrid. Yes, it is a huge airport, but God, we needed Firefly needed a hub in Iberia, and it's handcrafted. It's in Madrid, one of the great cities of Europe. It's a handcrafted airport for nearly all platforms, and more importantly, too, there's just so many great destinations in the Iberia region. I mean, Barcelona, Murcia, Valencia, Palma, Malaga, Bilbao, Porto, Lisbon, Faro, Gibraltar, Sevilla, the Canaries, the Azores. Like, Madrid is just such a needed hub for this. So, I think Madrid was my first choice. Rome was my second choice. I liked Rome as well. Rome would be pretty cool to have a hub. Again, we know Merce loved the Romans, so Rome was a pretty good option. It's just that with Zurich being there, I would rather have a hub in Iberia where an area that actually needs it. We got plenty of Italian places. And then third was, I think Faro was my third choice, was Faro. Faro's nice. It's handcrafted, and Faro's definitely pretty cool. But Madrid is just such a Genoa's fourth. Genoa's nice, and Sofia was fourth, and then Genoa was fifth. But again, really close to Zurich. Don't really like that idea. And of course, Tughatten's last, because why would we want Tughatten as a hub? If I want a Central American hub, there are better choices out there. This guy's here is beautiful Glenwood Springs. Um, so yes, I would love to see Madrid be a hub. There's just a lot that we could do with Madrid as a hub. So, yeah, this here is Glenwood Springs. So this here's Glenwood Springs. It's a gorgeous place, especially if you drive down this area. Um, you get some beautiful roads and stuff through the valleys. It's absolutely. There's also tons of rafting opportunities. But yes, for Fireball Air, I hope you drink. Um, like, I wouldn't mind Rome would have been pretty cool as a hub. I wouldn't mind Paro Sofia either. Sofia would be interesting because it's Southern Europe, and that area doesn't really have much. And the Balkans would be pretty interesting. But I just think Iberia really needs it. So many really cool airports in that region. Plus you could do some transatlantic stuff too. Going to transatlantic stuff to North and South America. Let's see some of the other pictures I have in my Discord. So you guys. Let's go back to the travel check. So day 3 of our London trip. Day 3 of our time in London, of course. Um, so day 3 we visited Kensington Palace. So you guys they were doing refurbishment work in the front, but Kensington Palace, really neat place. Tons of really cool rooms and stuff. A lot of it talked about Queen Victoria. This was the place she lived in here in Kensington. Some really cool rooms. And I have the Discord here if you want to check out the pictures. But tons of really cool stuff. Old stairways back in the 1700s. Lots of cool stuff. And then we went on the London Eye. So here's the London Eye, of course. Some amazing views out of London Eye. I know there's still a lot of reflections though because it's glass, but you guys can get the views. Absolutely breathtaking. I know there's a lot of reflections on there, but that's what we did day 3, and then day 4 was probably the best day of the entire trip. We went out to Windsor Castle. Now, unfortunately, you couldn't take pictures of the interior, but Windsor Castle was absolutely amazing. It is insane at Windsor. The castle itself was just gorgeous. The castle itself was gorgeous. Unfortunately, you can't take pictures of the interior though, but let me just tell you, the interior is absolutely insane inside. So much historical pieces from the time period for hundreds of years. Absolutely insane though. And we couldn't get in the chapel as well, but this area is just so cool. Here's the chapel right here. Absolutely amazing place to visit. And there's the little town Windsor. And then afterwards, I visited a sporting venue. Yes, you guys all know I'm a sports fan, of course. So of course, I had to visit Stamford Bridge, home of Chelsea Football Club, since 1905. So the stadium was actually built back in 1877. This was shed in the original shed of Chelsea Football. It features some of their most famous stars and players, including number 8 Super Frank Lampard. But guys like Ron Harris, and here's the tickets area. Blue is the color, football is the team, we're all together. We're aiming to cheers on through. Cause Chelsea aim. Yeah, lots of famous Chelsea stars. There's the mega store, of course. There's the statue of Peter Osgood. And you can see all Chelsea's accomplishments, including Premier League titles, League Cups, various European titles, including the Europa League, and even the Champions League. It even includes their Champions League trophies. They won 2 of them. And just this past year, they just won a Conference League. So, yeah, Chelsea's put up a lot of accomplishments. The people were super nice here. They got a museum here, too. And there's the interior of what Stamford Bridge looks like inside. Looks absolutely amazing. It's 40,000 people, though. It's one of the, not the biggest venue, but it is really cool, though, to visit a Premier League venue like that, which is something I've always wanted to do in England, was to visit one of the Premier League stadiums. And here's the press room. I'm an Evertonian supporter, but I got me my own little scarf, a Chelsea scarf for Chelsea. How to get a souvenir? Scarves would be one of the cool souvenirs. There's like the locker rooms, of course, and there is me with probably my favorite Chelsea player, Cole Palmer. Yeah, I had a great time, and of course, I even took a picture with 2 Champions League trophies. With 2 Champions League. I had a great time. I had a great time in London, of course. So I'll talk more about the cruising stuff at another date. Probably Sunday. I'll talk more about that. Because Sunday will be in the Dakotas. So we'll be heading to Aspen, which will be our next stop, is Aspen, Colorado. This is a very well-known municipal. Of course, you all know this place for being one of the major homes of it was a major retreat during the late 20th century. Many people have settled here. But of course, Aspen is most famous for its winter sports. It is a winter sports hub. The Winter X Games have hosted here since 2002, and many people have been involved in Aspen. It's a winter sports paradise. And it's very much a much more modern upscale compared to some of the other communities like Glenwood Springs. But yeah, many people, the rich and stuff, have settled retreats here. And of course, the main airport we're visiting here is Aspen-Pitkin County Airport. That is the main airport of this city. It's also known as Sardi Field. The airport came around since the 1940s. However, one of the most interesting things about this airport is its runway. Only 8,000 feet, but it's got a massive elevation, though. It's actually above 7,000 feet above sea level, so the biggest plane that can take off and land here is the CRJ. The largest plane that can actually land here safely is the CRJs. There have been attempts to lengthen the runway at this airport. However, there's been a lot of conflict um, between like the private jet people and the people who want to extend this airport. But yes, it's got very strict noise regulation too. So go ahead and prepare for our first landing of the day here. So here's Aspen Airport here in Colorado. Yeah, I also need to get back to working on some of the flight plans for our National Park series and stuff. Gotta work on those flight plans and stuff. Yeah, it's just like I said, I need to get back into the routine again. Been gone for so long. Oh no. Moments before disaster. I avoided it. Gonna park here for a bit and get out. So we're going to get out of the plane for a little bit. As we're just gonna chill. So we're going to get ready to get back in the air once again. We're going to climb up much higher. We're going to climb up to 14,000. We're going to climb up to 15,000 feet next leg. Go ahead and get back to the next leg. Here's beautiful Aspen, Colorado. So here's Aspen, everyone. Here's Aspen. Oh. Look at the scenery here, guys. This is breathtaking. And yes, Colorado is very mountainous. If you guys aren't aware about Colorado and how mountainous the state really is, let me tell you all about Colorado. This state is mountainous is a complete understatement. However, Colorado is more of just mountains. It is also got deserts with sand dunes, deep canyons, high plains, and more. In fact, Colorado has around 550 mountain peaks that extend 10,000 feet in elevation. The lowest elevation is actually in Yuma County at only 3,300 feet. And roughly 70% of all Colorado's population lives on the eastern edge of the state, which includes cities like Boulder, Fort Collins, Boulder, Denver, Aurora, and Colorado Springs, even to Pueblo. Yes, 30% of all those people live in that area of the state. Which is a lot of people. One of the more interesting things about Colorado's geography is, of course, the other thing about these mountain ranges is protection from the prevailing storms that blow in the Pacific Ocean. So as a result, you don't get a lot of major storms in this region, of course. There's a lot of different regions here in Colorado to discuss here. Of course, there are several major regions in this area. Half of Colorado is eastern flat rolling land, and lots of different farms and crops were grown in the eastern half of the state. Of course, the west of it is very much mountainous in the Continental Divide. Tons of different areas of regions here in the States. Due to its unique mountains and stuff, Colorado is a very complex climate. Unlike many other states, southern Colorado is not warmer than the north. Most of Colorado is made up of mountains, foothills, high plains, and desert lands. Go to the eastern half of the state. It's semi-arid with low humidity and moderate precipitation between 15 to 25 inches annually, while the west is a wide variety and in locations just a few miles apart can have very different weather days topography. Most valleys are semi-arid, and at the highest elevation could go all the way to alpine climates. For example, in the eastern plains, In the summer, these many areas could reach above 100, over 100 degrees, whereas some of the stuff in the western half of the state, for example, might be a bit colder due to the mountains and stuff and all that. The highest temperature ever recorded in Colorado is 115 degrees in July, while the record low temperature is negative 61 in one of the old February 1st in Mayville. And Colorado is also a biodiverse species area, fauna. Of course, the gray wolf returned back to Colorado in 2020. Colorado's also got a native population of pronghorn that's varied wildly over the century, but now it's about 66,000 pronghorn, which, by the way, if you guys aren't familiar with pronghorn, they are related actually more to giraffes than actual antelope. Other common wildlife here can be found including mule deer, southwest red squirrel, marmots, moose, and red fox all over the state, even though moose are not native here. Foothills have deer, fox squirrel, cottontail rabbits, and coyotes. In the prairies, have the endangered black prairie dog, American badger, and jackrabbit. At least some of the native species that live here in this part. We're getting to more of the mountainous regions of Colorado, Mount Elbert and all that. Yeah, as you guys can tell, this area of Colorado is really, really mountainous. Should make some great bush flying opportunities for sure. Yeah, really beautiful. So you guys, I hope you're enjoying the stream. If you guys are enjoying the stream and have supported the channel, smash that follow button and support the channel. We stream 3 days a week here. We actually stream 2 days a week now. Fridays and Sundays here on Twitch. And they're both the 50 States and 50 Streams stuff going on. That's what's going on. Eventually, after the series is over, I'll be doing on Fridays will be the all country streams on Fridays, and Sundays will be our the U.S. National Park Series, which will be much more bush plane oriented. So it'll be pretty fun to check this out. Oh yeah, and speaking of other stuff going on in sports, the Panthers have won the Stanley Cup, so the Stanley Cup final over, and the Florida Panthers have gone back-to-back for their second straight Stanley Cup title. So yeah, Canada is still without a Stanley Cup. Go figure. And then the NBA Finals, the Pacers had made the finals, guys. Couldn't believe Indiana made the NBA Finals, and here's the crazy thing. They just beat the Thunder last night, and now they're forcing Game 7 on Sunday. Come on, Pacers! One more game, and we could be NBA champions. Please, I would love to see that happen. Love to see the Pacers take home an NBA title. I mean, last night was just an all-around team performance. They just took control of it as a team. So one last game on Sunday, big game. So, in terms of the games, in terms of the USL Championship for Louisville City, Louisville City is still unbeaten. Louisville City still hasn't lost a single game yet all season. and they're just runaway as the best team in the entire USL. So Louisville City. And oh yeah, speaking of Louisville, on July 29th, I believe, Frankfurt and Aston Villa are going to play a friendly at Lynn Family Stadium. Huge, huge game. Not every day RC gets to host a Premier League versus Bundesliga matchup. So both clubs played in Europe as well. So. And as an Everton fan, I did get to see the schedule and stuff. I was privileged enough to visit Everton and Liverpool. So, again, the Premier League thing has been announced. So for Everton's schedule, because this season has our schedule. So the first game of the year for Everton this season will be against Leeds United at Ellen Road. Will be the first game. The first home game will be August 23rd at the new stadium. So yes, it'll be into August. So can't wait for the Toffees this season. Pretty big stuff going on for the Premier League thing. So yeah, was privileged enough to visit Goodison Park. Really great to see the old lady still there. I got plenty of Everton souvenirs. I got a kit and stuff. I got to show off at the Premier League. One day of the week is August. Oh, it's a Saturday. Pretty big stuff going on. And of course, speaking about baseball as well, I forgot Major League Baseball was also a thing too. The Rays obviously doing pretty good. They are ripping off in June. They've been having an amazing June, and now they're just 2.5 games out of the Yankees. Pretty safe for the Rays this season. But the American League is still dominated by the Tigers. Still the best team in the American League this season. In the National League, it's been the Cubs that's actually had the best record in the NL. It's been the Chicago Cubs this year. But I mean, the Dodgers are not out of it by any stretch, and so are the Mets and Phillies. And yes, the Rockies are still complete garbage. Has not. So in terms of Colorado's economy, economically speaking, Colorado is a U.S. state. Colorado's economy is around $553 billion. The total GDP in 2015 is $318 billion. In 2024, it was around $553 billion. Colorado really grew a lot more. Per capita was 11th in the nation in 2010 with 51,000. And it's broadened from agriculture and mining to now in a well-diverse economy. Including tourism, Colorado has become very popular for tourists. In fact, in 2018, 85.2 million people visited Colorado. And they generate $22 billion of economic activity. And Colorado's economy is diverse with food processing, machinery, chemical products, mining of metals, scientific research, and more. And of course, Colorado also is known for many brands that founded here in the state, including West, Samsonite, Coors Beer, Jolly Ranchers, with, and more are found here in Colorado. Yeah, Colorado has a bit of a diverse economy, broadly speaking. Now, in terms of culture, speaking of waste, culturally, Colorado is quite diverse in its culture. Several film productions have been filmed here, especially westerns like True Grit was filmed in Colorado. Searchers, Sea Slickers, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and My Life with the Walter Boys were all filmed in Colorado. Several military forts, railways, and ghost towns have been used for historical accuracy for many films. There are also several scenic highways in quite a few films, most notably Vanishing Point and Starman. Of course, Colorado's been featured in a couple other films, including The Furious 7. The Shining, of course, was filmed in here. And of course, also is the setting of South Park, one of adult animated series South Park. There's also film festivals in the States, most notably the Aspen Shorts Fest, Film Fest, Boulder International Film Festival, and the Moondance International Film Festival. And of course, Sundance is going to be moving here in 2027 to Boulder. And then cuisine's also a big deal here in the States. Colorado's got quite a few cuisine specialties, mainly Southwest and Rocky Mountain cuisine. With Mexican restaurants throughout the state. Boulder is a pretty foodie town, especially with many companies such made their homes here in Boulder. And Boulder also has more master sommeliers or wine stewards per capita than any other city in the country, more so than San Francisco, New York. And steak is also pretty well known. Denver is also home to Polidori sausage, which is based on Italian sausages. And the Food One Classics held every year in Aspen. So, pretty cool stuff. And basically, Rocky Mountain cuisine is stuff based on the Rocky Mountains. Game meats are very popular here. And of course, one interesting dishes include bison is also popular, and of course, Rocky Mountain oysters, aka and we have wine and beer here in Colorado. So there's Colorado, thanks to its diverse climate, can grow lots of wines. Various wines from traditional grapes, those from cherries, peach, plum, and honey wine. Colorado wines have won top national and international awards for their quality, and their growing regions are some of the highest vineyards in the United States, with most priced between 4,000 and 7,000 feet above sea level. And the climate helps ensure warm summer days and cool nights. Most vineyards are in the Grand Valley, AVA, in Madison County, and West Elk. However, a lot more are okay within the Front Range. And there's lots of microbreweries in the United States, most notably the New Belgium Brewing Company and the Great Divide Brewing Company. So yeah, there's definitely a lot going forward for Colorado in terms of its lots of really cool stuff here in Colorado. That's definitely worth checking. Yeah, just getting back to the streaming stuff as usual. So we're just 132 nautical miles from our last stop here in Boulder. So, Of course, this mountain over here in front of us, that mountain over here in front of us, guys, this is Pikes Peak. Pikes Peak is the highest summit of the southern front range of the Rocky Mountains in North America, and it's about 14,107 feet. But Pikes Peak is definitely well known for being one of the most popular and well-known mountains here in the state. A lot of them in the state, but Pikes Peak is probably the most famous mountain. Though the highest summit we visited earlier is Elbert. But yes, Pike is one of Colorado's many 14ers. But of course, it is located in Pike National Forest, and it's named after the American explorer Zebulon Pike. But even though he didn't reach the summit, he did visit. This summit is actually the highest mountain in the United States east of its longitude. But of course, this mountain is most well known for, in modern times, for a road race. More specifically, not just any race, but the annual Pikes Peak Hill Climb, which is hosted here since 1916. As people fly up and down through the highway and up to the twisty slopes, and about 12 miles. The record time currently is in 2018 by Romain Dumas out of France, driving his Volkswagen Pikes Peak electric vehicle, and it took about 7 minutes and 57 seconds to Pikes Peak. But it's an absolutely crazy event. Absolute. Really cool mountain. Of course, Pikes Peak is very popular for research laboratories and high altitudes. Marathons have been hosted here and more. And even a gold rush was happening in this area too. But yes, Pikes Peak is probably the most famous mountain. Yes, and apparently a Cessna helicopter landed here too. That's pretty much also correct. We'll be approaching Colorado Springs shortly. Is Colorado Springs. So Colorado Springs is actually the second largest city in Colorado after Denver, of course. It's 6,000 feet. It's actually higher in elevation than Denver. And it's the largest city north of Mexico above 6,000 feet in elevation. Of course, Colorado Springs is most well known for its tourism destination thanks to the base location of Pikes Peak. It became a very popular tourist destination. Tons of really cool areas to visit, most notably the Garden of the Guards Park, U.S. Air Force Academy, Sky Mountain Zoo, and the U.S. Olympic Training Center and Museum are popular places to visit here in Colorado Springs. Finally, we have the airport, Colorado Springs, and it's the main airport of Colorado Springs since 1925. It mainly features flights from across the western United States. Large passengers was 5 million in 1996, and the airport is going to be expanded in March of 2020. Fun enough, destinations include Phoenix, Dallas, Chicago, Atlanta, Salt Lake City, and you know what's the most weird destination about this? How about Denver as a destination? Despite the fact Denver and Colorado Springs are so close, believe it or not, the top destination is Denver, is the top destination, which is crazy to think about. Yes, that is weird. And it's due to the fact that not only their proximity, but also frequent travel is why you fly Colorado Springs over to Denver. Here it is, guys, Pikes Peak. Will be to our right is Pikes Peak. Yeah, there's Pikes Peak, guys. To our right. We're going to go ahead and descend on down shortly. Bot. Really another bot. These bots just chill. There. So here, guys, is the Garden of Gods. Here left. This is Garden of the Gods, and my goodness, it is absolutely gorgeous. Look at this here, guys. That's gorgeous. Gorgeous, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying this. This is absolutely breathtaking. For these This is downtown Colorado Springs. Downtown. And our airport should be right ahead of us, is our airport. Got one last stop left to go in Denver. Wrap up the stream here and enjoy our day here. But I really enjoy my time here. It's great to be back in the sim is all. This is the Colorado Springs Airport. We'll stop here for just a bit. Some really cool screenshot here. Got Pikes Peak in the background. So we'll take off here pretty shortly. Get ready for the last leg of the trip. We're going to get ready to take off here very shortly as we make our way over to Denver. So we're going to go ahead, prepare to take off here in we're going to go at 8,500 feet. Let's go over some of the facts about Colorado as we head our way over to Denver. Let's wrap up some more Colorado slides. I think we have 2 more slides we got to cover here today. We'll wrap things up. First is transportation. So in Colorado, there's been multiple forms of transportation here in the state. Again, the mountains make things a lot more interesting when it comes to transportation. The main transportation is highways, mainly Interstate 25, north to south, connecting Pueblo, Colorado Springs, Denver, Fort Collins. While the east-west corridor is I-70, which connects Grand Junction to the mountain communities of Denver. And many smaller areas of Colorado are connected by county roads. Colorado is also home to the third busiest domestic U.S. airport in the world, Denver International, one of the world's busiest airports in Denver. And Denver Airport at one point was one of the busiest airports in the world. And Denver flies to all sorts of destinations, making Denver one of the most important hubs in the United States to connect passengers between the east and western half of the United States is Denver. Finally, of course, Amtrak operates 2 passenger lines in Colorado, California Zephyr and Southwest Chief. And of course, Colorado was where railroad history was forged by the Denver Rio Grande Railroad in the 70s, and wrote the book on mountain railroading. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. And then in sports, Colorado has 5 major teams, all in Denver. Those being the Colorado Rockies of baseball, Denver Broncos of the NFL, the NBA's Nuggets, NHL's Avalanche, and in the National Lacrosse League, Denver Mammoth, Colorado Mammoth. And they also have the MLS's Colorado Rapid. Colorado is actually the least populous state in the United States to have all team have a franchise with each professional sports league. Of course, so I talked earlier about the Pikes Peak Hill Climb. And of course, they also have a country club golf course that's hosted many golf tournaments. So here are some fun facts about Colorado. Centennial State. It's the only state in the history to turn down the Olympics. Yes, Colorado actually turned down the Olympics in Denver in 1976 due to the cost, pollution, and population boom city. The U.S. Air Force Academy is located in Colorado Springs, which we're actually flying to right now. The largest natural hot springs pool is in Glenwood Springs. And in Frutia, town folks celebrate Mike the Headless Chicken Day in 1945 based off an event 1945. And the chicken lived for another 4 years without a head. Oh, that's fun. And some famous people here in Colorado include William Harrison Dempsey, boxer from Manassas, Prof. Edwards from Marino, Douglas Fairbanks from Denver, Ruth Handler from Denver, toy maker, Ted Mack TV host from Greeley, Ute Indian Chief Array from Colorado Territory, actor Tim Allen from Denver, and more. There's some pretty famous people from Colorado, of course. So down to our right is the Air Force Academy. You found the stadium up here. That's to our left with the Air Force Academy. So to our west, there is our Air Force Academy, guys. That's where the finest pilots of the U.S. Air Force get their training wings out of. Here's the Air Force Academy. We're just 69 miles out of our last stop here, Denver, Colorado. Beautiful area here. We're about to get to Denver pretty shortly. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. I don't have too many plans this weekend. I guess I gotta catch up with more flights, of course. Very excited to be here with you guys. I do appreciate all you guys being here today. So we'll find someone to say hello to after the stream. let's talk about Denver, Colorado, since we're about to approach Denver, of course, the big major city in Colorado. Denver is the capital, most populous city of Colorado by a landslide. Population of around 715,000 people, making it the fifth most populous state capital in the country and the 19th most populous city in the U.S. Its metro area is at a staggering 3 million and is the economic cultural center of the Front Range Urban Corridor, which is also home to 5 million people. And of course, Denver is named after James W. Denver, the governor of the Kansas Territory at the time, and it was founded at the confluence of Cherry Creek and the South Platte River in 1888. Of course, you all probably have heard of Denver's official nickname, the Mile High City, and it's due to the fact that its elevation is exactly 1 mile above sea level. And it grew beyond its prospective origins to become the principal commercial transportation hub of the Great Plains of Rocky Mountain West. And it features many cultural institutions, museums, sports teams, and more. And Denver is one of the best places to live in the entire country. Thanks to its access to nature, tons of things to do, Denver is truly a great city. We're getting closer. Let's go ahead and make our way to Denver, Colorado. Here are your guys. We're getting to Denver. Yeah, the Denver metro area is massive, and so is the international airport in Denver. So, get through this area pretty quickly. Yeah, Denver, definitely a really cool city worth visiting here. There's definitely some really cool places in Denver to visit. Of course, Denver has got many museums, recreation centers here too. You have the Denver Pavilions Art Entertainment Shopping Center. You got the Colorado Convention Center. They got an art museum. You have the historic Byron Elvin's house and the Molly Brown house as well. Who found out about Molly Brown? She did survive the Titanic, and for her service with all the other survivors. And it's got a pretty rich cuisine heritage too, mainly with New Mexican cuisines more. So pretty cool stuff about Denver. So we're about to approach downtown Denver, then we'll make our way to Boulder for our last stop. So thank you guys so much for joining on in today. I know and takes some getting used to getting back into the streaming stuff again. Here we go, guys. This is downtown Denver. Here it is, guys. Downtown Denver. Here it is, guys. Denver, Colorado. So to the west of it, you can see Mile High Stadium to the west. That's home of the Broncos, team's NFL team. Very popular in the city has been American football. I think the most popular team in the city is the Broncos. Ball Arena, home of the Nuggets in the Colorado Mammoth. Here's all the stuff here. So here's Coors Field, home of the Rockies. Now we're heading to our last destination here in Boulder. This will be our last slide of the day here, and we will fly over to Boulder, Colorado. Boulder, this whole city is located in Boulder County, Colorado. Most populous city in the county with 108,000 people. Is most well known for being a college town, hosted the University of Colorado Boulder, the largest campus, the flagship of the University of Colorado system. And soon in 2027, it will be the new home of the Sundance Film Festival. Of course, it is also hosted 10-kilometer-mile run, the Boulder in Memorial Day since 1979. It involves over 50,000 runners, joggers, walkers, and wheelchair racers. One of the largest road races in the world. Hosted here, and it even has its own municipal airports, mainly used for general aviation. It's a great place for like line activity due to its location. It was founded in 1928, and it's the oldest operating public airport in Colorado. And finally, some college teams actually fly into Boulder for games against Colorado. However, college football teams have to fly to Denver International due to this airport being quite small. That's it about Boulder, of course. Yep, that's it, everyone. So that's our last slide of the day. So we're going to get ready to go. Here's guys, we're about to reach Boulder pretty soon. It's a pretty beautiful city, and Boulder's right on the. Here's Boulder. We should be flying over the University of Colorado Boulder pretty soon. Home of the Colorado Buffaloes. They won a national championship back in 1990. And you guys all know they're currently, any college football fans should probably know they've been coached by none other than Deion Sanders. And they also got two Heisman Trophy winners. Rashawn Salam, 1994, and this past year has been Travis Hunter winning the Heisman Trophy. Here it is, guys. Here's the University of Colorado in Boulder. Here it is, University of Colorado Boulder, Folsom Field. One really cool tradition at Colorado Stadium is definitely when Ralphie the Buffalo charges out for the game. Really cool stuff. Here we are, guys. We're about to make the last landing of the day here at Boulder Municipal Airport. Yeah, on Sunday we'll cover our next state. North Dakota will be our next state, so we'll be taking something for up there. So, guys, thank you all so much for coming here today. Really do appreciate all you guys being here. Ready to be back here at the streams. Once again, be back streaming again. So, we'll cover more about the trip on Sunday, of course. So, we'll. Oh, and. So, that's it, everyone. We made it to Boulder, everyone. So, guys, thank you all so much for coming here today. I know it's been crazy to think about getting back to the streams and stuff. So, pretty crazy to see here as always. So, we'll be back on Sunday. We'll be in North Dakota for this one. So, I hope you're all be prepared for the trip back. So it's great to be here back after a couple weeks. I know it's been pretty crazy thing. So we're gonna go ahead and say hello to I think we're gonna raid MSFS official, so we'll be seeing you guys on Sunday. Take care everyone and have a great rest of your day. Goodbye everyone. See you all very soon.